player sample, the third, the section coaches and pros, the X's and O's. This is the best we do, what we know, so let's go. Colorado, right? Colorado. Um, Colorado is it's just been in trouble, right? It's been in trouble. I said that they would go 5-7 this year. That was my record prediction, preseason wise, looking at their record. I mean their schedule, and seeing the way that this team was built, the transfer portal, the players, um, and whatnot. But that was just my record prediction for this team, right? And they fell short of that. So I was wrong because I thought that they can, for sure, the way that West Virginia was playing, I thought they would beat West Virginia. I thought that they would get some kind of win inked out. But to be honest, when I looked at the schedule earlier this season with Colorado, I said to myself, I see 3 for sure wins. But outside of that, like, I don't really see any other wins but me, seeing this team and just giving them the benefit of the doubt, because I really don't want to see them fail, regardless of what people may say or what they may think. I just try to be real with football takes. I'm a fan and I break it down, but I do respect the game enough to know to look into things and my verbiage and playbooks, and try to understand defenses and offensive schemes and blocking schemes and so forth and so on. But, I don't want to go on a tangent there, but still looking at this team, I was like, well, they probably going to get 2 wins somewhere out of the ordinary, right? So the 2 wins, I'm like, it got to be. And then looking at the way the teams were playing earlier this year, I'm like, it got to be Kansas State and West Virginia. That's where those 5 wins is going to come in at, with those 2 teams. But now they're falling short. They're at 3-8. Once again, Coach Prime did he take accountability? Did he truly take accountability for this game? Now, when you got shows like the shows that cover Colorado, right? There's no accountability in your journalists or the guys who even break down the teams. Not everybody who, breaks down Colorado film or follows the team or has a show about the team. Not everybody does that, but there's a Pacific show. And I really don't need to call them out because everybody knows who they are. But there's a lot of them who just say just straight up BS. Just some straight up BS. And there's no accountability. Now, if you have if you're with the team, you have access to the team to interview any one of their players, the coaches. You got coaches on your show. When you have that kind of access to the team, there's no need to look at a PFF grade. What about your grade? You see these players. You constantly follow the team. You know what's going on inside and out. And yet and still, they still want to feed the fans BS. But I guess that's part of the game. That's just part of the media game. But see, when you have a YouTube, when you have your own channel, there's an integrity for the viewers, for the fans, that people just start seeing through things. People will start seeing through the fakeness and the acting and the BS. This is football. This is not cheerleading. No diss to the cheerleaders out there. No, this is no shot for the cheerleaders out there. This ain't anything. Pee-wee football teams, and I mean this, there is Pop Warner football teams across America that take more criticism well than the Colorado Buffaloes fan base. I'm just being honest. I don't care what people think. I don't care how people feel about it. Colorado's fan base, and it's just, and there's a lot of fan bases, and there is delusional fans. But however, when you have a delusional show, and when you sit there and when people make excuses and say a fumble lost them the game, are you serious? How does a fumble lose you a game? And then when you blame the receivers for the play of a true freshman quarterback, why not just say this is a true freshman quarterback, and this is only his third start of the year, third start? Why not just say that this is his third start or second start, and this is versus a one of the best teams in the Big 12. Arizona State's not an easy team, but I knew the excuses will come, and I knew they would come, and I know that. So yeah, Jake DNVR. I'm going to say his name because he actually called me out on Twitter one time, so I'm definitely going to say his name. You got to stop looking at PFF and start going off your own advice and start looking at your own things. Because, yeah, you called me a weirdo one time. You shot me down, messed up my views and everything else. But that's okay. That's in the past. But, yeah, we can have a sports debate anytime. We could talk sports. We can disagree whenever. I get on this camera and do it on the weekends. We could do it anytime, anywhere, brother. I ain't got no problem with doing that. Because people get tired of hearing the BS that goes on over there. They just get tired of hearing it. Look, read the room, read the comments. People everywhere, they're tired of hearing that. They know, they see what's going on. They didn't lose the game because of fumble. They lost the game because you had 4 turnovers and plus territory and you couldn't punch it in. But what happened when Caden Salter was at quarterback and y'all couldn't score off the 3 turnovers in the Georgia Tech game that y'all only lost by a touchdown? Now, I'm not saying that Caden Salter was a world beater. No whatsoever. Because you got what you got out of him. If you would have looked at his PFF grade and looked at everything else with Caden Salter and actually watched some film on the guy just a little bit, then you would have known that y'all didn't get a world beater at quarterback. But he's best used in the read and the run option, read, run, pass option, RPO system. That's his best attribute. That's where he plays at, right? And he made that offensive line that people are saying that isn't playing up to par right now because you got a true freshman quarterback who isn't much of a running threat look much better. But nobody wants to admit things like that. No. Let's not talk about things like that. Let's talk about everything else but that. When it comes to the Colorado, we can talk about anything else. I don't care about what Prime Sexuals got to say because there's a bunch of people out there that act like they're God-fearing people, but will get in my comments and tear me to pieces and on anything I got to say. And I'm not even talking negative. I'm just talking real and passionate right now. That nothing I said. What did I come out of my mouth that's not true? So far, nothing. This is all factual. This is what we know about this team. This team has consistently gave up. This defense has consistently gave up under Robert Livingston 400 yards per game, and that's almost just rushing. This defense has always had trouble with stopping the run. This ain't nothing new. It just wasn't just quarterback runs. They can't stop the run. The defensive line is horrible. Nobody never talks about the defensive line play. It's bad. The only person I ever heard talk about it, and shout out to him, was Matt McChesney, and shout out to the other show. What's his name? Buffed Up or Prime Buffed It. You know what I'm saying? But I can't. But you know what I'm saying? Like they the only other people that I heard even talk about it. But it's the truth. The defensive line, it is what it is. If you don't want to hear the truth, you can go somewhere else and hear it. There's already people that don't like me anyhow, but it doesn't matter to me. But this is the facts of the matter, that defense has always been a problem, that there's more, that this is going to be a total new rebuild at Colorado. Y'all are going back to year 1 starting next year because recruiting was terrible. because almost y'all missed out on every player that has came through Colorado. The first thing you need when you build a team, and I don't care if you from the Pee-wees on up, everybody knows this at every level of coaching. At every level of coaching, what do you need for your team to succeed? I need an offensive line and defensive line. You only could get so far even in Pee-wee football. You can have the best, fastest little running back in the league, but if ain't nobody blocking for him and they just getting in the backfield, he getting sacked or he getting stopped in the backfield. There ain't nobody blocking for him. It is what it is. It can get stopped at any moment. So you got to have the trenches. You got to have the trenches. And he let all the trenches go. And I know it's old, and I know that the whole Louis, I'm bringing my Louis in, but that statement, and people keep going back to that statement because of the fact that he said that he was bringing guys in, and he didn't even give the guys there. He didn't even evaluate the talent there before he said that. He's seen little things like people having headphones on instead of giving them a chance to take their headphones off in the meeting. We ain't going to wear those in the meeting. We ain't going to bring speakers to the meeting. Instead of telling them that, he told them you're not good enough to be on this team because you brought headphones or you brought a speaker into a meeting. Just little things like that. Now, is that possible? Is that correct? No, I don't know. I don't care. But he didn't keep them. And we know that. And we know that to be a fact. I don't care what the reason was why he didn't keep people, why he didn't play people. He should have kept them around. There was guys that went all over. There was a couple of D1 defensive linemen and a couple of D1 offensive linemen that would spread it around college football that went on to play for some good football teams in college football. It just was. It was the dumbest move ever. But it looked good because you had other things to back it up, right? Never really had an offensive line. If you would have just kept some of the offensive line that was there and some of the defensive line there, even just for the depth of it. And even Jordan Tyson was there. A lot of people were there. A lot of names were there. You can go on and on to the list of the guys that was there that you could have helped, that could have just brought the depth with the Louis. Now you know what I'm saying? Now you got some reconstruction to do. You know what I'm saying? You got some Louis that you just got to knock the dust off, get these guys ready, develop these guys, but that was just too hard. But it's been proven that there's no development going on. Nope, that's not happening. And the recruitment there, nope, that's not happening. But don't nobody really want to talk about it. But let's have that conversation because it's not going on in Colorado. It's just not. And there's so much to fix. There's excuses. He's a true freshman quarterback. That's what it is. You expect that out of him. That's why I said I wasn't going to jump the gun and watching that West Virginia game. I want to see him versus Arizona State. And if he came out and he balled out versus Arizona State, I was going to come back on this mic and say Julian Lewis played a good game. Did he? I mean, he looked all right at times. But he looked like a true freshman quarterback that I thought would look like very pedestrian, to be honest, versus that Arizona State defense. Yes, he did. He got smacked around. He stood in the pocket. I thought, and I said last week, his pocket presence is good. You got something to work with there, but he ain't going to stay at Colorado and get beat up. He needs, in that offense that they want to run, you need to have a top-notch offensive line. Why has that not been ever built? And I mean, and then they making excuses. He was 19 for 38, 161 yards. He averaged 4.2 yards per throw, per catch. Just dinking and dunking. That's where those yards came from, was a lot of yak. It wasn't like he was dropping dimes. He had a 22.3 QBR, and you're going to sit here and say he played all right. Stop it, man. Stop it. No accountability. And that's what the shows is telling the people, but they know that's a bunch of buffoonery anyway. Now let's talk about the quarterback tangibles. His footwork looks good. He stayed in the pocket, took punishment. I don't know how his toughness was because it seemed to speed up his clock. There were some throws that he had panic throws in that game, like any young quarterback would. But I think he's adjusted well to the college system. I will say that. But to sit here and say that he was going to tear Arizona State up was just, that wasn't going to happen. But I did see some things that could be worked on. But is Colorado the place to work on that, though? We have not seen nobody get better. Nobody. We have not seen one quarterback get better. Well, I mean, we only seen Shador, but he kept his bad habits all the way through both years he was at Colorado. Nothing was different from year one at Colorado to year two at Colorado. Nothing was different out of him. So he's the only quarterback that we really have to go off of. Every mistake that he had made was followed the second year. No bad habits was broke. No development took place. He was always accurate for a college quarterback. Had the Heisman candidate at wide receiver that made up for some of the stuff that was going on. So we really don't got much to go off of. But I don't want to say he had I'll say I seen good things out of him in the game. But I'm not going to say he had a decent game. No, he didn't. It was horrible. It was a horrible display. But we'll blame all of that on the O-line, though, for sure. For surely. But once again, you got another running back who you pull out the game and you stop running the ball. You only ran him 10 times in the game, and he was averaging 6.5 yards per tote in Dallin Hayden. That's the problem. Why y'all want to pass so much when you got running backs who's averaging, their averages is crazy. Oh, and they blamed it on Ronald Coleman. Ronald Coleman's fumble lost them the game. He stumbled, slipped on the field, and his knee hit the football, man. He was trying to break to the outside. His knee hit the ball when he stumbled. That's a, you know what I mean? That didn't lose y'all. Man, the things people do for the internet, man. The things people do for the clicks and likes and to be loved by the masses and to continue on feeding you. This is football. This is football. If you want to hear somebody preaching, you want to feel good, you go to church. You go talk to your counselor. You don't come to football for that. I'm so tired of people wanting to come in this space and say, we want to hear positivity. This is football. My son get more criticism on a football field than some of these college athletes that people standing up for. Grow up. Or get out of football. Stop being scared. Use your voices. We all fans of the game. We yell, we scream at the TVs during the game. We know. Where was Jeremiah Brown at in the game? Where was Jeremiah Brown at? Crazy. Why wasn't he on the field? Anyway, I'm done with my Colorado talk. Let's get up into these college football games.